has come and gone.
A lot of emotions. We got a lot to discuss. It's going to be a back-to-back episode with Evan Closky. So, Evan, are you ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
Now Evan Closky.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. Let me open with this. I didn't think Mark Topkin, Tampa Bay Times beat reporter, could be more of a buzzkill, but he proved me wrong, where he tweets out at 6:03 p.m. that I'm hearing that the Rays are done. No more moves. Like, you can't keep the suspense going on a little bit more. Give me another 10 minutes or something. Like, because usually some big move or two bleeds in a little bit after that 6 p.m. deadline or whenever the time is for that deadline.
On the contrary, I welcome that. Look, stop wishing. It's not going to happen. And I love it because, in this, if you listen to this podcast, you know that we have not been building up. Contreras is coming, and Juan Soto is coming, and Jacob deGrom is going to come to the Rays, and everybody's going to come to Tampa Bay. No, the most we said was, if we're lucky, best case scenario, David Peralta walks in through those doors. And guess what? That actually
Christian
happened.
Walker, but...
Yeah, you did say Christian Walker.
Right team, wrong player.
Yeah, but Kevin and I mentioned, David Peralta as an option. So, like, that's my issue with every trade deadline. And I'm already heated, boys. It's not even minute 3 and I'm already heated. But I just do not understand why Rays fandom every year around the same time, they keep building up these castles made of sand. Thank you, Jimi Hendrix. That go nowhere. Like, last year, the Nelson Cruz thing was an outlier. You cannot build expectations of an outlier, and yet Rays fandom keeps doing that. Evan Closky, help me out. Why does Rays fandom keep doing this to themselves?
Well, they're fans, and you look around the league, and it's what normal teams do, and you want to do what everybody else is doing, and you want to think that your ownership is full feed into a season and going to try to improve the team. Using last year as an example, they ended up being a 100-win team. They were well on their way to win the division. It was a totally different vibe entering the deadline than what it is right now, where the team is clinging onto the last wild card spot. Mm-hmm. They're beaten, they're battered. They need to somehow stay within 2 games of that position when they inevitably lose it, I assume, based on the amount of injuries they have, and just hope that the additions you're going to have with your players who succeeded or have previously succeeded will help you make a push towards the end. This isn't a scenario where you give a crap about the record or any pennant titles. Just make it to the dang playoffs. And I don't know if you should be exhausting major resources to push for this team to go any further than what they potentially could. I don't know what people wanted. It takes 2 to tango always, and you have to find the right buttons to push. I think the Rays do a tremendous job of thinking outside the box, doing their due diligence. Again, playing with the trade machine, and people are saying, well, the Rays and the Yankees were talking. We thought that, maybe Phillips was involved, that Choi was thrown out there. And it was like, okay, well, if they can package Choi, and Phillips. You grab Florial, and then that pretty much replaces Brujan in your system. You trade Brujan for Wilson Contreras, and then you've just pretty much added Contreras without affecting the future of this franchise. But it takes a multitude of moves and for all parties to be properly situated to get that done. The Rays consistently like to work earlier than the deadline. They're not huge deadline day guys. They're very much, let's be the first ones to make a deal when the urgency isn't quite there. Let's jump ahead of it, understand the value, understand when we see something we like to just pounce on it then and there, get more days out of it. And usually where there's the sense of urgency and a bunch of mind games that happen today, they kind of steer clear of it for the most part. But
what's funny is, once we heard the rumors, how substantiated they were with the Rays, I mean, who wouldn't be interested in Wilson Contreras? That just gets everybody's hopes up. And I totally ignored the Contreras rumors. Block, delete.
There was no point, and it just seemed like also the Cubs their asking price was too high, and one of the biggest losers of the trade deadline, I think, were the Cubs. How do you hold on to a rental like that? And I know you can get qualifying offer, get a draft pick. I know that's your consolation prize, but would you rather go into the draft? You at least have information on these prospects that you're trying to acquire versus the draft, which creates a whole new ripple effect of starting from zero and figuring out how they do at the next level. And, I'm just confused by that. But yeah, it made no sense to me for the Rays to exhaust a significant asset to bring in Wilson Contreras, who I don't know is going to dramatically change the outlook of this team, though offensively speaking, they can use all the help they can get.
Right.
But the price is just too high for a team where they're clinging onto the last wild card spot of a new system where we have 3 wild cards.
This team really has a knack for scoring 3 or fewer runs in a ball game. That seems to be an ongoing theme for this team, at least for 2022.
Not a good one.
Before we move on with before we move on to
oh man, he's interrupting my live read. Look at that.
Right. I do have to do this. Man, for everybody that did want Wilson Contreras, which I agree with Kevin, do not even listen to it. The Rays are 25th on WRC plus in the catching position, so yeah, it would be nice to have had a little bit.
Of course, I would love a better car, but sometimes you got to work within the means of what you have. Right, and just understand where you're at and what's necessary and what you might be reaching for.
Look, I was going to bat for
what can give you a better sparkle, right, Kevin? You sometimes need a better sparkle in the catching position. Yeah.
There we go. Speaking of catchers, I mean, I was all on the Sean Murphy boat.
Yeah,
we know. I would have been on the Christian Vasquez boat, but I don't think the Rays and the Red Sox were going to make that deal. We've got much more on the trade deadline to come, but first, you have to make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on right now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what is inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece today. Go to BlueNile.com for all of that. So running down the list of the Rays acquisitions, Jose Siri, somebody named Jeremy Walker, somebody named Garrett Clevenger, and let's not forget, a couple weeks ago, they added Christian Bethancourt. Might as well add him to the fold in the mix as well. I know it's not really fair, but it's fun to do. How would you grade the Rays trade deadline moves and maneuvers encompassing the last couple weeks? An A, a B, a C, a D, or a big fat F?
C.
Okay.
I don't know. I think they did exactly what I expected. I would say instead of the letter grade, meets expectations would be my
satisfactory.
Exactly. It just Do any of those moves excite me? No. I am intrigued with Siri and the potential. I mean, it's a big what if, you know. He seems like a big analytical darling. And I know that they've been interested in him for some time. As I mentioned to you guys, Abraham Toro was a huge analytical darling within many circles, and that's why the Mariners made that deal last year and thought they landed. The turnaround is coming, and he's been all right. I mean, for some reason he only performs after the 8th inning, but nothing crazy. He still is very much an analytical darling, and it hasn't sprouted into anything. But you have years of control, and more importantly, you don't lose anything defensively, because Brett was he was phenomenal in the outfield. One of the best outfielders defensively this season for any major league team. And but Siri has that potential to really slide in where you don't lose anything from him. So you're not sacrificing defense. And as for Peralta, I'm interested in him, especially for a team that's anemic right now hitting. And I love the Bethancourt move. It just has not paid off yet.
Yeah.
It just I'm a big fan of that move. And they needed somebody who can hit. He was hunting a lot of barrels, and it just he's not really playing consistently with this team. It's a little bit of a different role than what he had in Oakland. And, it's to be determined what's going to happen there. But a lot of their maneuvering, and where I kind of understand what they're doing, is they also cleared some clutter from the 40-man. Right. They got rid of a great prospect in Seth Johnson, which I think, that deal for Siri was a bit of an overpay.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was an overpay, but the fact is Seth Johnson's about to go under Tommy John. He's going to be out a year and a half. You're going to have to put him on the 40-man next year, and they already have a clump of guys on the 40-man that they're fighting for with positions.
Right.
So do they really need another TJ on their roster to hold on to? It's just best to kind of go with another project who at least you hope is going to help you at the major league level. And he has one option left. So I think, if things go south, then at least you do have you can send him back down to AAA and without any penalties and worry about that there. So there were a lot of weird things, but I understand they were just trying to kind of set themselves up in a better position for also the offseason when they got to put more people on the roster. I mean, right now, people don't understand this, but Taj Bradley's not in the 40-man yet. So
right. Yeah, what's funny is it just me, Ulises, or is Evan not as excited for David Peralta as I thought he would be? I gotta tell you,
I like David Peralta. I just I need to. It's tough with Peralta, and like what's going to happen with Peralta. I need to see something with him in the Rays uniform, and everything's so new. So I just don't know how to grade that yet, because him, out of all the moves, is very much I need you here and now. I need your help ASAP. I don't even care what you do in September. You need to produce in August while this team is swimming.
And I think that's something he can do. Right,
Kevin, do you agree with the C grading for the Rays as well for this trade deadline? Because if you do, then I guess am I the more positive person in this podcast? Because that's weird.
I'd maybe give it a B-.
I am. I would give this a B+, A-, and I'll tell you why.
I'm not. No, not an A-, B+. I said B-.
No, I'm saying B+ for me. I'm saying B+ for me. Because look, what were the needs? The needs were unclutter the 40-man and Rule 5 draft eligible guys. Check. Get some veteran leadership. Check in Peralta. Get a righty masher. Check with the same Peralta move. Get some catching depth. Check with Bethancourt. Get some relief help in case the guys that are coming back, the Chirinos, the McKays, the Fairbanks, and Nick Andersons, and the like, the Jaguars do not come back as healthy. Check. And in a financially responsible way. They hit everything that they needed to hit. Now, for those screaming in Twitter saying they didn't get this guy and then this guy and this guy, again, You can't just go for the outlier.
My rebuttal is I really was hoping that they would unclutter things to help their future more. That I thought they were going to kind of clear some of that clutter to then set up some like people who are controllable for a year or two and understand that this roster is still kind of built for immediate success, maybe not like 2022, but I don't see any reason why 2023, 2024 aren't going to be big seasons for this team, right? I mean, they're doing this with, bubble gum and scotch tape. So, if they can do that with this and you're coming off a 100-win season from the year prior, I thought that maybe you can get some win now talent, but more so win now down the road that kind of helps you. And I look at this roster, I look at this team, and I'm still, even when they're all healthy, there's no one who can consistently mash on this squad. There's no one that you can lean on to say this person is a runs producer consistently, and I'm scared of them. Nelson Cruz provided that last year at the 4-hole. There's no one that does that for this team, and I don't know if it's coming in the organization, which led to their first-round pick. I would love if Wander Franco developed the power like we all think he can, but the guy is peppering singles right now.
Yeah, he's singles McGee over here.
Yeah,
he's hurt.
He's Tony Gwynn, but I like that's great. Wander Franco's fantastic. Do not get me wrong, game-changing player, but he's not what I'm talking about.
Be healthy first of all, too. That's the other thing.
Beyond that,
but that's the thing. That's the. I think the context matters. Yes, they just came from a 100-win season. That's true. But also look at who's in front of them. It's a machine that doesn't lose because also it's aided by very bad umpiring.
I'm not talking about
the Yankees.
I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm just talking about them and what.
But your moves, but the Rays' moves have to be somewhat dependent on what the other teams are doing in front of them, and you can't possibly go chips all in when the best you can get this year's wild card spot.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you get somebody who has years of control. Not you can't.
Jose Ziri is a years of control guy.
Yeah, but as of right now, as we talked about in text, right? He is a righty Brett Phillips right now. Different name.
Right now.
Same sort of deal. One hopes that he's going to blossom into a steal for this franchise. But that is hope right now. That is just looking at the numbers, seeing what you got, understanding the minor league statistics, and just hoping that it works out, right? I mean, everyone's a big fan of Isaac Paredes. He had a heater, but outside of that heater,
right.
What has he done? What has he done outside of 2 weeks of just like his bat coming to the plate, just burning with fire?
Yeah. I think some of it too is I thought the acquisition of David Peralta was an A+ move, giving up a guy that who knows, like catcher Sarah could be something in
totally
5, 6,
Love
7
that
years.
Deal. Loved
but
it.
I think what happened was it was a little bit of a letdown after that, where oh my gosh, the Rays they acquired a former All-Star Silver Slugger, Pros Pro, a couple days before the deadline. What are they going to do by August 2nd? And then it turned out to be small move here, small move there.
Those are the people that are using outliers to create their expectations. Again, kids, if you're listening to this, do not create expectations out of outliers. That's just not helpful for you mentally,
big.
Emotionally.
Dream reasonable.
I mean, honestly, you probably won't be an astronaut, little 8-year-old. You probably won't, but you can still have a pretty darn good life, okay? You can have a really good, happy life. You don't have to be an astronaut, okay? Not everybody gets to be an astronaut.
You heard
Not
it here
everybody
first.
gets to have
He's killing kids' dreams.
A Juan Soto. Not only one team is going to get a Juan Soto, and you have
Which,
to.
by the way, was an
context.
I still think the Nationals didn't get enough, but side note.
Yeah, that's something we need to talk about. And you know what? Maybe the Nationals threw all of their green Skittles on BetOnline, and they were like, "Oh well, that was not a good move." But you know what? Maybe you have a good move, and you can do that at BetOnline.net, which is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts.
I think some of this too with the Rays, and obviously, I mean, unless you get the big name, there's fans out there that are going to be disappointed. But I think in context and comparison to what other contenders in other division foes did at this trade deadline, made the Rays moves not so sweet and flashy, if you will. The Yankees going out and getting Harrison Bader and Frankie Montas and Benintendi. The Astros getting Trey Mancini and Christian Vasquez and reliever Will Smith. The Blue Jays getting Whit Merrifield and two relievers. The Red Sox, I don't know what they're doing, but they're acquiring veterans, Eric Hosmer, Tommy Pham, Reese McGuire, then trading Christian Vasquez. But you look at guys, those are guys that we've heard of. Those are guys that have won All-Stars. Those are guys that are veterans. Those are guys that have won World Series. Those are guys that can make an impact in October.
Well, that's why, like, as I said a C just because it's meet expectations. I don't know. Maybe C is too harsh. I'm just trying to say, like, what they did, I don't think got me excited, and I don't think I'm disappointed. I just think they did what I expected them to do. They made some moves, which I thought were nice. I have no problem. The Bethancourt, the Peralta, the Siri. Once you kind of think about the 40-man roster, again, I think that Siri deal was a bit of an overpay, but when you use the context, it makes sense. I'm okay with those deals. Like, I got no problems with that. So to me, it's check, check, check. But the one thing that I wanted, and that's not to say that I wanted them to get make a big splash or anything. I see so much in this team down the line, and of course they have a whole offseason to address it, and that stuff could happen. But I thought, you might be able to address those future needs now and also help a team that's kind of sputtering, who you think can make the postseason, especially when everybody gets healthy. So, I hope no one's like bashing this team, expecting them to do 90 different things. It's one of those deals where I feel unsatisfied, but I also went in feeling like this would be the feeling, and their moves were rational, no problems with it,
right?
And we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you could always be an Orioles fan. That would suck.
Well, you might have some more Orioles fans with Brett Phillips on the team.
Yeah,
but man, like, you've never played competitive ball in the last 7 years. 7 years, right? I think 7 or 6 years.
I actually
agree smelling with
it. I agree with the Mancini move. The Lopez one kind of that one was like, whoa, you're selling, like you're really trying to
right. Yeah, and what's frustrating about all that is the fact that the Rays only have 3 games remaining versus the Orioles. Like, the Rays got the Orioles' best punch this year.
To be fair, though, Mancini actually, who is like traditionally a Rays basher, he, outside I think that first series, he really didn't do anything against the Rays.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Lopez, wasn't Lopez the one in when Randy kind of hit that bases loaded, one of their wins after the All-Star break, one of their 3. So,
don't recall.
I don't think that the Orioles are like going to drop off by any means.
Right.
I think what their GM said is pretty much true. Like, I think he shouldn't have said it, but the fact is, like, they probably, like, they're still in this, like, I don't know if we're going to be a wild card team. The probabilities don't tell me that we're a wild card team. So I got to do what, think with emotions and think with my head.
But the qualifying offer is there. Like, he was going to say no to that. So at least get your pick and get your fandom something to be excited about for at least a month.
Right.
Like it's unfortunate. Now, I will say this. You said there's 3 more games against the Baltimore Orioles. You are correct, Kevin.
And lots of games
And
versus the Yankees and Astros, unfortunately.
Yes, that's September, and yeah, we've highlighted that. But the 12th, 13th, and 14th of August, the Orioles will be coming home, and just Brett Phillips will be coming home as well. So if you want to, say hi to Brett and all that, the 12th, 13th, and 14th, he'll be wearing orange and gray and a little bit of black, and you can say hello to Brett.
And watch him strike out 4 times in a single game.
Unnecessary roughness. There's a flag on the play.
It was necessary. 41% strikeout rate. Oh my!
30 yards
Ulises
back.
just has a bunch of props. I didn't know he was prepared. We didn't script this. I don't know how he was prepared with all these
30 yards
props.
back. Back.
Before we wrap up here, a couple
30
things.
yards.
Jaden Murray, Ford Proctor, both guys that were traded were
Friends of the show.
Friends of the program. They were guests, yes.
Mhm.
And then hearing from the Locked On Rays listener contingent out there, the percentages as follows according to our Twitter poll on how the Rays did in the trade deadline. 4% give them an A, so that's probably just Ulises' vote right there. 31%.
I voted B.
I'm sorry?
I voted B. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. 31% say B. 44% say C. So they're with Closky there. And then 21% say D to F. And then some comments just to give a couple shout outs. Colton Salick says, just seems like the attitude is, quote, the Yankees are too good, so we won't make any big moves. Caleb says the only notable thing they did was DFA Brett, and that's notable for bad reasons. Quinlan Deegan says this is one of those seasons where the injured list will provide the late season acquisitions. The Yankees already have the division sewn up, so let's get players healthy and roll with the young talent. They may get hot and go on a run. So there we go.
You get a like, Quinlan Deegan. You get a like. Good, non-emotional take. You get a like, Quinlan. Boom.
Yeah. Very rare to see that on Twitter or social media. See some,
it really is. Just a straight line comment. Just beautiful done, QD. Very good.
Yep. There we go. All right. We'll have Thursday's episode with Evan Closky as well. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On MLB Prospects podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.